Let's go ahead and move into meditation. I invite you, if it feels comfortable, to go ahead and close your eyes, to take that breath, to lean back into your chair, to make yourself comfortable. The purpose is to forget the physical body at this point as we move within, as we move into silence. We take that breath and allow it to leave, continuing relaxing with each breath and knowing that love is our natural state. I focus on that spiritual quality of love within my life. That love that I realize through my daily practice each and every day. Through those practices of prayer and meditation, I come into contact and realization of that idea of love, that attribute, that divine attribute of love. And my consciousness becomes one of anticipation itself. Anticipation that love is always here. That there is never a time that I am without that. I am one with the universe. I'm one with the divine. And with that, love is my reality. This reality is spiritual, based in love, and always present. I take another breath, and I let go. I know and I acknowledge that Divine Spirit is here with me now. And I feel comforted. I feel good, realizing this truth within my life. There is never a time in my life that I am separated from that divine presence, from that oneness that I belong to with all others and all things as well. I take another breath. And with that exhale, I drop a little deeper into that silence where I connect with the divine. I continue to receive this knowing of love within my life with each breath I take, as we now spend the next minute or two in silence. And as we begin to come out of this quiet space, We might take that deep breath in. If you've closed your eyes, we can open our eyes now. We can become aware of the room around us once again. And we can claim that idea of love within our lives, knowing that it is here, knowing that it is our birthright as well, to claim that attribute of love. It is a part of us. And with that we say, Namaste.
Good morning, everyone at Unity in Madison. I'm Reverend Lisa Herklotz, and I'm here with my husband, Reverend Jim, who you met in the meditation. And we're both just so happy to be here to share a Sunday message with you, especially on this particular weekend, which is the day before Valentine's Day. So I just want to wish everyone a happy Valentine's. And of course, I'm going to talk about love. What else could you talk about on a Valentine's Day weekend? Love, 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 love. I mean, when I think about it, love is one of those topics that's probably the most talked about in our society. I mean, it gets written about in songs, in TV shows, movies, and books. It gets tweeted and Snapchatted and texted and emailed. And I mean, what isn't talking about love in some form or another? Many of you may remember the Beatles song that's so well known that goes, all you need is love, da 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 da, all you need is love. That's all I'm going to give you from my singing capabilities, but I hope that got your toes tapping for just a moment and brought some happy memories to your mind. This is the Beatles' claim, right? Is that all we need is love. But is that really true? Well, I'd like to explore a different perspective on that. But let's begin by recognizing that since love is such a prominent topic and idea in our society, it's clear that there's something that is just so fundamental about it to our basic nature and existence. I mean, if we turn to Jesus, our way shower, his whole mission was about love, wasn't it? One of my favorite scriptures is from Matthew 22. It's from verses 37 to 40. And in this particular writing in Matthew, Jesus is addressing the Pharisees who have asked him a question because they're really trying to catch him. They're trying to back him into a corner so they can prove him to be wrong and a false prophet. And they ask him what the greatest commandment is, and do you remember what his response was? I'm sure many of you do. He says, you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. He says this is the first and greatest commandment. But he also goes on to say that there is another that is equal to that. Do you remember what that one is? Love your neighbor as yourself. He says all the laws and all the demands of the prophets are based on these two commandments. That's a pretty powerful statement. So all of the laws of our tradition and our faith are based on the commandments that say love God, love yourself, love your neighbor. Love. When you think about love in our world, it gets expressed in like so many different ways. I mean, if you were to try to define love, you would probably ask 100 people and get 100 different responses. We have that passionate, romantic love. We have the love of our family and our friends. We have the kind of love that shows us compassion for others. We even have love towards objects like food and clothing and activities. I love my Caribou mahogany coffee. I love Cherry Garcia ice cream. I love my scarves in the wintertime. Love gets expressed in so many different ways, but what is it really? I believe all of these expressions are like outer manifestations of something that's actually much deeper and more profound within us. So this brings me back to the idea, is love all we need? It would seem so, but I say no. No. And here's why. There is never a time or a situation in which you lack love. Let me just say that one more time. There is never a time or a situation in which you lack love. Just take that in. Breathe that into your heart and mind for a moment. And then let's get real. Now, I can tell you already, even in this past week, that there have been situations I've been in, people I've been dealing with, that I walked away from, and I would not have used the word love to describe what I experienced. Perhaps you can think of a few yourself. So, what is that? I mean, someone's rude to me at work, or someone cuts me off in the car, or there's a lot of traffic. Somebody in my family or someone I love or my friend is dismissive or short with me for who knows what reason why, and I get triggered, and I'm not in that moment thinking, wow, there's love. This is what love feels like. No, it doesn't. But the truth still remains that there has never been, and there never will be a situation where love is lacking. And why is that? Let's turn to Eric Butterworth from Discover the Power Within. Eric Butterworth is what has been one of our most prominent ministers and authors within the Unity movement. And in his chapter of the Law of Non-Resistance, he says this: Jesus challenges us to get a good understanding of this thing called love. He says you do not really love simply because you love those who love you. What does that prove? It's easy to be nice and friendly to those who are nice to you. It is no problem to love thy neighbor as long as we have something to say about who that neighbor may be. I wonder if that rings any bells for you. It certainly does for me. It's easy to say we love. It's easy to say as a spiritual community we love everyone, until someone walks in who disagrees with us, or who looks different, or has a different set of beliefs. So what is this thing called love then? He goes on to say this: love is not an emotion that begins in us and ends in the positive response of another. Love doesn't start here and I say, okay, I love you, and as long as you respond back with a positive response and with love, then we can say we love each other. No. Here's what love is. Love is a divine energy that begins in God and has no end. It begins in God. And where is God? We know God is omnipresent, everywhere. Therefore, where is love? Begins in God. God is everywhere. Then love is everywhere. And it has no end. We tune in on this energy and are moved by it as it flows through us. Love, everywhere present. We tune into that love that's already present, and it flows through us and as us and manifests in a true, deep, profound experience of love. Whew, okay. So love's not a feeling, an experience, or a thing that gets gained or lost. Love is what we are. Love is what I am. Love is what you are. So how could that be missing in any situation? But clearly this can't be the same thing that we call love at a human level, right? The kinds of love that come and go and that change with circumstances, no. But does that make these experiences here in our life, in our world, any less? And I would say no, it doesn't. Because these are all glimpses of that profound love that we are. These are moments when our foundational love of our very beingness gets expressed here in a human form. So in the beauty of a rose, in the kiss of a lover, in the hug of a mother or a parent, those are outward manifestations of that deep, profound love that is within us. But why don't we always experience it then? Because clearly, if love is never absent, and I'm experiencing an absence, then what do I need to do? Well, in A Course in Miracles, it says the search for love is but the honest searching out of everything that interferes with love. Let me read that again. The search for love is but the honest searching out of everything that interferes with love. Now we're getting to the crux of it. So love being an inherent attribute of what we are already and have always been, it means that love is not what I need. What I need is to seek out those obstacles that are keeping me from that awareness. And we do that through forgiveness. Forgiveness. Now, if I had time to dive into forgiveness, I would love to, but that's another whole Sunday message. But what I would like to do is leave you with these 3 simple steps that I use myself in my own life that help us begin to activate that activity of forgiveness. And it's something like this. Step number 1, recognize when you are not feeling the love. All right? I recognize my triggers, and that takes some work on becoming very aware, self-aware of when we're triggered, what that feels like to us, and saying, oh, wait, that's my trigger just went off. I am not feeling the love in this moment. Step number 2, then, is to pause. When you feel that trigger starting, you pause. That holy pause. When you get a chance to turn within, take a breath and ask yourself this question. What do I really want in this situation? What is it I really want to bring about in this situation? And you're going to need to have some honesty there. I get pretty honest with myself. Sometimes I'm standing there and what I think I really want is to be right. And I want them to say I'm right, or I want to prove them wrong, or I want something outside of me to change. That's maybe my very honest assessment of what I want in that moment. But that leads me to step number 3. Choose love. Choose love. Can it be that easy? It can. It may not feel that way in the moment, but it can. And the more we practice it, the easier it becomes. Choosing love. And you can tell when you've chosen it because you will soften. You'll soften to yourself and you will soften towards the other person. And that defense mechanism will just disappear, that need to attack or defend. And something new inside will begin to become your experience because you'll want more than anything to simply connect and see the love in that moment. I just want to share a really quick story with you of how this has played out for me. This is just one of the many scenarios. But this was quite a few years ago. I was a new member on the board. The church had just lost the minister. We were in a lot of turmoil. The emotions were very high. And we were all pretty new to the board, not really sure what we were doing. And as I went through a couple of meetings, I was getting really frustrated because I felt they were being run very ineffectively. I was working in a corporate job, so I'd kind of been trained and knew how to run meetings a little better. And so I tried to offer some things during the meeting, but it wasn't really very well accepted. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go straight to the president and let her know what she can do to make this all better. Well, you might imagine how that went. We sat down, and of course, I was all about being right. And it was very clear to me right away that it was not being received well. And then my own trigger started about, well, I know how to do this, and why aren't you listening to me? And you know how we can go down that road. But then I recognized my trigger, and I remembered to just pause and sit back and ask myself, wow, what do I really want to happen here? What am I really looking for? And I sat back, and as I sat back, I softened, and she felt that energy shift, and she sat back and she softened. And I said, can we start over? And we did. And we did from a completely different perspective. One of inviting love in. Inviting our awareness of love in, since clearly love is already there. So I invite you to think of a situation that may be happening for you now, where you're not feeling the love, and give it a try. Practice it on smaller situations, and then maybe some that are a little more triggering, a little more difficult to deal with. But remember that each time you make this powerful conscious choice, you are claiming your divine inheritance as a child and a beautiful expression of God, and all the love that is. Well, this has been my delight to share this message with you, but I have one more thing before I go. I'm going to invite my husband, Reverend Jim, up here with me, and we're going to share a little skit with you that I hope you will enjoy. Just to set up the scenario, I'm a customer. I've been having some technical issues, and I have called the hotline, and Reverend Jim is the customer service rep that I got. Take it away.
Hello, how may I help you today?
Oh my gosh, I have a message flashing that says I need to install love.
I can help you with that. Are you ready to install love?
I think so. I'm not very technical, but I think I'm ready to install now. What do I do first?
Well, the first step is to open your heart. Have you located your heart, ma'am?
Yes, I have, but there's several programs running right now. Is it okay to install while they're running?
Well, what programs are running, ma'am?
Well, let me see. I have pasthurt.exe, lowesteem.exe. Oh yeah, grudge.exe and resentment.com are running right now.
That's no problem. Love will automatically erase pasthurt.exe from your current operating system. It may remain in your permanent memory, but it will no longer disrupt other programs. Love will eventually overwrite lowesteem.exe with a module of its own called highesteem.exe. However, you will have to completely turn off grudge.exe and resentment.com. Those programs prevent love from being properly installed. Can you turn those off?
Well, I don't really know how to turn them off. Can you tell me how?
It'd be my pleasure. Go to your Start menu and invoke forgiveness.exe. Do this as many times as necessary until grudge.exe and resentment.com have completely erased.
Okay, here I go. All right, I think I'm done. Hey, love has started installing itself automatically. Is that normal?
Yes, it is. You should receive a message that says it will reinstall for the life of your heart. Do you see that message?
Yes, I do. Does that mean it's completely installed?
Yes, but remember that you have only the base program. You need to begin connecting to other hearts in order to get that upgrade.
Uh-oh, wait a minute. I have an error message already. What should I do?
Well, what does that message say?
It says error 412, program not run on internal components. What does that mean?
Don't worry, that's a common problem. It means that the love program is set to run on external hearts, but has only yet been run on your heart. It is one of those complicated programming things, you know. But in non-technical terms, it means that you have to love your own machine before it can love others.
Oh, well, so what should I do?
And can you find the directory called self-acceptance?
Oh, well, yes, I have it.
Excellent. Then you know what? You're getting pretty good at this.
Oh, thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Click on the following files and then copy them to the My Heart directory. Forgiveself.doc, self-esteem.txt, realizeworth.txt, and goodness.doc. The system will overwrite any conflicting files and begin patching any faulty programming. Also, you need to delete selfcritic.exe from all directories and then empty your recycle bin afterwards to make sure it's completely gone and that it never comes back.
Okay, got it. Hey, my heart is filling up with really neat files. Smile.mpg is playing on my monitor right now, and it shows that warmth.com, peace.exe, and contentment.com are copying themselves all over my heart.
Then love is installing and running. You should be able to handle it from here. One more thing before I go.
Yes?
Love is freeware. Be sure to give it and its various modules to everyone you meet. They will in turn share it with other people, and they will return some really neat modules back to you.
I will. I can't thank you enough for your help.
You're very welcome.
And we thank you for having us as guest speakers, and we wish you all a very happy Valentine's. Namaste.